everybody, thank you for joining me today. I do truly appreciate it, and I'm doing an unboxing for an eBay book that I bought. And this book is one that I actually have shown you a couple different versions of it, as well as I have done a book review on this book. And it's The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. And I thought I was done with this book. I'd already unboxed a couple versions. I'd already done a book review. And one day I'm on the eBay and I see that a company called OwlCrate, they do kind of like the monthly subscription box sort of a thing. OwlCrate had a version of the Buffalo Hunter that did not look familiar in any way whatsoever. It looked much different than the versions that I had. And I still don't know a whole lot about OwlCrate, but as soon as I saw those books on eBay, I went to the OwlCrate, mashing them Google buttons, and I found out that I couldn't order this version. It was already too late. But they have started offering quarterly horror subscriptions, signed limited editions with new or different dust jackets than the original versions would have had. And that one also was not really available to sign up, but I could join the wait list. So I joined the wait list, and we'll see how that works. I don't know all the ins and outs and stuff like that, but they have other subscriptions that you can join up where you get monthly things and stuff. But I want to show you the book. Like I said, I've done a couple of unboxings and I've shown you some things. The neatest version that I had right here was the Black Crow version with the stenciled edges, which looked really great. It was signed on the end papers there. A really cool and neat version of that book. But here's the deal. I wanted the other version, so I found one on eBay for probably more than retail, but considerably less than what some of the others had sold for. So I quickly bought it now, buy it now, did it, and voila, it's in the mail. And here are some of the pitfalls that come from buying things from eBay. And also what I found is buying these subscription bags. A lot of times you get the same thing. They'll put hardcover books in bubble mailers. And I don't know how OwlCrate ships these, but I've joined up on other subscription book things where you get books, hardcovers shipped to you in bubble mailers, and I end up with ruined hardcovers every time, and so I stopped doing them. If I want the book, I'll try to get it on the secondary market and avoid the bad shipping. To me, this is bad shipping. And then the other thing is I don't like to get books in the mail that I really don't want and pay for them and have to put them places or whatever. So I don't do it, and I know they can be fun, and I know they can be a great deal, and a lot of people love them, and I'm happy for you. Love away. I recommend, if you like it, go do it and enjoy it and be happy. I just don't do any of them right now, although I am considering a quarterly horror subscription thing if an opportunity comes. We'll see, especially if they put out another book that I really want. Then I'll have to find a way to sign up. But my eBay seller, in my opinion, did not do things right so far. We'll see. I have had some eBay sellers in the past that put stuff in a bubble mailer, but then they have cardboard inside protecting it. And I don't want to put the cart before the horse. Always put the horse before the cart. This is not a good way to ship a book. There's nothing in here whatsoever that will offer any protection for the book, for the corners, for the edges. This stuff gets tossed around and stacked up and piled up in shipping, and it's just like hold your breath and hope for the best on how it's going to arrive. So let's take a closer look. This one was sealed in the shrink wrap. Now, from what I understand, the OwlCrates come in a cool looking box. Some of them that had shipped them that I'd seen on eBay that were selling them had a box that was with it, but it wasn't a slipcase. It was just a cool looking box. Some of the sellers have neat decorative boxes that they send them in, and they're a neat thing, and I don't want to discount the value of that because I like that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, getting the book is what I was looking for, and you can see some designs right here, some footprints. When you read this book, you'll know that our fellow Good Stab, I did a book review. It's a great book. Stephen Graham Jones, may I say best? If not, definitely among his best. And in a nutshell, we've got a lady named Etsy Bocarn, who's reading the memoirs of her great-grandfather. I think his name was Arthur Bocarn. He was a missionary in early 1900s, and he had this older Blackfeet Indian that would come in during his services to give a sort of makeshift confessional sitting in a pew, and he'd tell him a story, and he would leave and come back and tell a little more story, a little more story, a little more story. And it turns out this fella Good Stab, who had multiple names, was a vampire. And Stephen Graham Jones' take on vampirism in the early 1900s in this book, and even before that, as Good Stab's telling his tale, was very different. There were some neat characteristics to vampires, some challenges. Read the book, it's some very cool takes on it. But Good Stab has some revenge. And I don't want to tell you anything more about the book, but it is fantastic. So I read Stephen Graham Jones' werewolf book, one of them. I don't know how many it's got, but Mongrels. Fantastic shapeshifter, Native American sort of werewolf story. So the shapeshifters, the werewolves weren't like the Lon Chaney Jr. walking around on 2 feet werewolves, but that book was fantastic. Mongrels was. And now this one, vampires. Again, a very different take and fantastic. But let's stop talking about all that stuff and let's start talking about our OwlCrate version. This one is supposed to be signed and stenciled with an original, different dust jacket type of artwork than all of the other editions, which made me really want to get one. I showed you, I bought a Barnes & Noble, which is their first edition, first print trade version. Then I showed you the Black Crow books. And the Black Crow had some additional features. The dust jacket artwork was all, the artwork, the illustration was basically the same. The graphic design on the dust jacket was very slightly different. But they were so close and so similar that I ended up choosing which one do I want to keep. And then I sold the other. Because they were so similar and sitting on the shelf, they were about the same sitting right there on the shelf. However, this one, much, much different. We'll just contrast and compare. So we got the Saga Press and the Titan books. And let's contrast the front. You got the really shine the light to see what it looks like. And then the original design from the Titan books. And there is our stenciling on the spine there from Black Crow. And there is stenciling on the spine there. All fantastic stuff. The tops. What do they look like? What do you see? And then on the bottom. So there's a little bit of a comparison between the two. And like I said, this dust jacket artwork is exclusive. Now it's shipped in a mailer, and I haven't looked very closely yet, but our bottom corners are imperfect. Slight wrinkling to the dust jacket there. A little bit of wrinkling on the book itself. So let me take this dust jacket off. I'll stretch it out and show it to you. And we'll look and see how much damage did occur to my book that I bought. So there's our stretched out dust jacket. It looks so cool, man, what they have done. I like it. And it's a two-sided dust jacket. And this side, I haven't seen this one. Look at there. This side looks so good. So cool, that artwork. Let's see, who is the artiste? The artiste. All right, so dust jacket illustration is Nalakwasis Mukesh, and there's no way I've said that right, but there it is. There it is spelled out. See if you can read that. There's the artist all spelled out. The reverse dust jacket, Raven Scott Arbuckle, hard case design, Cade Roach, and I did not get the hard case, unless they're talking about the boards, which is probably what they are. The board design. End papers, Raven Scott Arbuckle. Stenciled edges, Nalaqusis Mukash. And author photo, Gary Isaacs. And there's the author photo, Stephen Graham Jones, the author. So let's get this book out, and we'll show you that hard case design. I'm assuming this is what they mean here. And that is cool, that hot foil stamping. And it is not just a normal, ordinary book. Very cool. The folks at OwlCrate, I don't know what they charge for this thing, but man, they put a lot of effort into it, and it is so nice. It's just a shame that my seller didn't take a better care. So let's take a closer look at these corners. At a close exam, I think I might be okay. It's not all mashed up. This is one of those deals where my thumb and my forefinger tend to do something like that all by themselves and straighten things out. But anyway, the corners here are not perfect, but they're not upset. It's not ruined. I do wish this seller would have done a better job. When a seller ships like that, eBay has a feedback option. What should a buyer do? I don't like to give people bad feedbacks. And I don't like to rip people and be bad and mean and negative or whatever. Even though sometimes people might deserve a bad feedback. If you don't do great, should you get a good feedback or a bad feedback? I don't know. But I don't like the negative people. What do you think I ought to do? What would you do if you buy a book and it was shipped like that? Let me know. Let me know what you would do. Those end papers are fantastic. And this kind of stuff, I know it helps sell books, because I know, look at her. I know it helps me decide to buy books. I wasn't going to buy another edition of this book, but it looks so cool. And I love the book itself. It has a built-in ribbon page marker there. I love the book. I love the story itself. And I had to jump. I'm trying to see the binding. I'm trying to see it. It has a sewn binding as well. I don't know how well you can see that. Try to get a little bit of light on it. But it is a sewn binding, which is another neat thing. A neat thing, man. You get a fancy book, a pretty book with a sewn binding, nice illustrated end papers, and it is signed. It's signed, and it says, this signed edition was printed exclusively for OwlCrate. So let me show you this signature here. That's the Stephen Graham Jones signature, and you can see the artwork on that signature page, as well as the authentication for it here. Very neat stuff, and I like this thing. Like I said, I don't know what OwlCrate charges per quarter or per month on their different boxes, but I like what I've gotten here. The paper is thin. The paper feels like a trade edition book paper would feel, and ultimately this would be a trade edition book with special features and additional things that makes it cool. So the book itself, there's no interior illustrations, but here in the back, I'm looking at this right here. I'm going to show you something real quick that I noticed when I get to it. Turn to the right page. Read on for exclusive content from the author. So in here, we've got, it looks like, portions of a manuscript with changes, notes, circles, pictures drawn. Is it a crown or a ship with one too few smokestacks? Different notes in here. Some cool stuff. It looks like a Buffalo Hunter manuscript and some penciled in notes, which is cool stuff. But that's our OwlCrate exclusive version of the Buffalo Hunter. And I really like what they've done. I've got my radar set for OwlCrate. I've signed up for their newsletter, and I feel like if the prices aren't too high, if they ever contact me saying, we have a spot for you on the quarterly horror subscription bundle, I think based on this, I may just jump on in. And if I don't get that opportunity by the time the next quarter rolls around, I will be paying attention to see what their next book is. And if it's something that I want, then I'll maybe just on the secondary market looking to see if I can score one. And hopefully that seller will use a box, a big enough box that the book can have cushioning in there and protect the book, because I don't like taking chances. I don't like paying money for something and risking getting it in bad shape. I don't like having to badmouth sellers and think about what should I do and stuff like that. But anyway, it ends up being a neat addition to my collection. It's gonna go right up here with my Black Crow Books version. I gotta make a little space, which I got a little space, but I'm running out of room for Stephen Graham Jones because I've already got books pre-ordered from him to take up this little bit of room that I've got right here. And now I've got this book in place. So the next book that comes in that's a Stephen Graham Jones title, I'm gonna have to do some finagling, which is both good and bad. I like adding things to my collection, but I don't like when I run out of room and have to start figuring out what to do next. Anyway, with that being said, I can think of no more lies to tell, so thank you for your time. I do truly appreciate it. And say la vie, baby. Doo-doo.